morning students, welcome to SST So Simple tutorial. As a political outcome, we expect an accountable, responsive and legitimate government from democracy. This is what we read in the previous class. Today, we will discuss the economic outcomes of democracy. As an economic outcome, we expect that democracy brings economic growth and development and reduces inequality and poverty. Students, we expect democracies to produce good governments. It is natural that we also expect that it produces economic development. So let us assess democracy from this angle. Refer table number 1, page number 94. This table shows the rates of economic growth for different countries between 1950 and 2000, that is a data of 50 years. Comparison is made between democratic and dictatorial regimes. Here what we see is that the growth rate of all democratic regimes is 3.95. The growth rate of dictatorial regimes is 4.42. That means on an average, dictatorial regimes have had a better record on economic growth. But if you compare their record only in poor countries, there is virtually no difference. What we find here is that democracy has not been able to achieve higher economic development. This is indeed a cause of concern to all democracy-loving people. But can we reject democracy only on this ground? No. Why no? Because very often we demand something more than material means of subsistence. We want freedom. We want equality. We want a government that is legitimate, that is accountable, that is responsive. We want the right to change the ruler if they fail to live up to our expectations, and dictatorships do not meet any of these needs. So we have to accept slower economic growth as the cost of all other positive benefits that a democracy assures. Let us now move on to assess democracy with a different yardstick. Let us see whether democracy has been successful in the reduction of inequality and poverty. Your textbook begins with some questions. I will read them for you. Even when a country achieves economic growth, will wealth be distributed in such a way that all citizens of the country will have a share and lead a better life? Is economic growth in democracies accompanied by increased inequalities among the people? Or do democracies lead to a just distribution of goods and opportunities? These questions are valid questions. See, if we are living in a democratic country, we can expect that there should be no economic disparity. Students, all of us live in a democratic country. We know that democracies are based on political equality. Political equality means people have the right to vote. They can even contest elections and occupy public offices. And we see that we actually enjoy this kind of equality. But we also observe that there is a growing economic inequality among the people. For a moment, I just want to take you back to class 9, then I will come back to the lesson. When we were reading the guiding principles of Indian Constitution, just before the famous speech Tryst with Destiny delivered by Jawaharlal Nehru, there was a box in which few lines are quoted from the concluding speech of Dr. Ambedkar. That piece is relevant here, so I will show you that and I will read. On the 26th of January 1950, we are going to enter a life of contradictions. In politics, we will have equality, and in social and economic life, we will have inequality. In politics, we will be recognizing the principle of one man, one vote, and one vote, one value. In our social and economic life, we shall, by reason of our social and economic structure, continue to deny the principle of one man, one value. How long shall we continue to live this life of contradictions? How long shall we continue to deny equality in our social and economic life? See what kind of visionary person he was. He had already spoken about the situation that we are discussing now, at least in the context of our country. He had clearly told that in politics we will have equality and in social and economic life we will have inequality. Let us resume our topic now. A small number of ultra rich enjoy a highly disproportionate share of wealth and income. You can see table 2. This table shows inequality of income in selected countries. Here you can see that in democratic countries like South Africa and Brazil, the top 20% people take more than 60% of the national income, leaving less than 3% for the bottom 20% of the population. Not only that, their share in the total income of the country has been increasing. Rich are growing richer and poor are becoming poorer. The gap between the rich and poor is widening day by day. Those at the bottom of the society lead a very difficult life. A large number of them live in slums. They find it difficult to meet their basic needs of life, such as food, clothing, house, education, and health. In India, a large proportion of our voters are poor. Therefore, no party will like to lose their votes. Yet, our elected governments do not appear to be as keen to address the question of poverty as we expect them to. This sounds a little strange and paradoxical, is it not? The situation is much more worse in some countries like Bangladesh, where more than half of our population lives in poverty. We are at least better than some other countries that we do not have to depend on rich countries for food supplies. Students, let me stop here today, but before we end this topic, what is your assessment? 1. Democracy failed to achieve the economic development as desired. 2. Democracy has not been successful in reducing economic inequality and poverty. Let us see the probable question from this topic now. You must not forget the growth rate of the democratic countries and the dictatorial regimes, that is 3.95 and 4.42. This may surprise you in MCQ questions. Okay, now let us see the questions. Question number 1. Compare democracies and dictatorships in terms of their ability to deliver fast economic growth. 2. Do democracies lead to a just distribution of goods and opportunities? Justify your answer with suitable arguments. Democracies are successful in reducing inequality and poverty. Justify the statement. In the next class, we will assess democracy in terms of the social outcomes. Till then, keep reading and have a nice time. Thank you.